Alright, fellas. Let's drop the polite meal talk for a second and get real. You know how you've been told for years that women want romance, security, or a man with money. Sure, that sounds nice saying a Hallmark movie, but when it comes to actual attraction, that deep, magnetic, can't stop thinking about you, pal. There's something else in Tyrella going on, something that turns on 99% of women, even if they never admit it out loud. And no, it's not six-pack abs, it's not a fat bank account, and it's not a way forward. Magic pickup line you memorize from some dating forum, it's something far more primal. And when you master it, women will not only feel drawn to you, they'll wonder why they can't stop thinking about you. So listen carefully, because what I'm about to share is anything most men completely misanders. And when you get it wrong, you give off creepy vibes without even realizing it. But when you get it trite, she will chase you. The honest truth, even if it stings. You all know I've ride myself on giving you the honest truth about what women want versus what they say they want. Even if it's uncomfortable for me to say, and maybe even uncomfortable for you to hear, you'll take one for the team because you deserve to hear it straight. And yes, if you're looking for real guidance in your dating life, you can work with me through the link in the description now. This whole thing about never talking gadvis from a fish that you see floating around online, cute, but let's be honest, most of those guys giving you thought advice aren't dating high-quality women themselves. This video is for grown men who want to master the psychology of attraction. If you want to stay stuck in guesswork, you can click away now. But if you want the pearls off wisdom, most men will never hear lean in. The most misunderstood part, attraction, pacing, and emotional connection. One of the biggest things I see men failing at again and again is understanding pacing. And no, I don't mean walking speed. I mean the pacing. You escalate things with a woman, specifically how you create an emotional connection before escalating to the bedroom. Now, before you roll your eyes sand, think, oh, here we go. To talk about romance novels and candlelit dinners. Hold on. Because emotional connection doesn't only mean flowers and I love you. Yes, that's one form of it. But there's another kind of emotional connection that is just as powerful and far more dangerous if you can know how to use it. The overlooked truth about connection. Emotional connection can be built entirely around sexual desire. This is where most men get blindsided because a thinks sexual attraction is separate from emotional connection. Wrong. We see it all the time. A woman sleeps with him on right away, and later she says, I didn't know why I did that. I just felt a connection. That wasn't about his wallet. I coach clients who have millions of dollars and still can't court a woman properly. Money can open doors, sure, but it doesn't make her feel that pull. A woman can feel multiple types of connection with a man. One could be the safe and stable vibe. Another could be the fun and exciting vibe. And then there's the dangerous one. It's the one where you made her feel naughty, tingly, and maybe even a little vulnerable in the best possible way. Ya lowered her guard. You made her think thoughts she normally wouldn't dare say out loud, and now she's wondering what teat would be like to cross that line with you. So how do you create that kind of connection? First, understand that for a woman, just talking about sex can best succeed.
Why?
Because when she says something intimate out loud and you're spinned in a confident, teasing, non-judgmental way, she starts volleying that energy back and forth with you. She starts imagining doing those things with you. Her sexual arousal template, yes, that's a real thing, starts lighting up like a switchboard. You could tell her something you'd like to do to her in a subtle, teasing way. Ask her about something she's never tried, but might be curious about. Or own up my favorites. What's one place you've always wanted to do it, but you've been too scared to get caught? It's that question. It plants an image in her mind instantly. Science break. There are studies showing that when you say the word sex, a man's soul template lights up for the next 8 hours. He can't stop thinking about it until he takes care of himself. Bothers the thing. Men have an on a switch. Women, we're different. Our attraction is a slow build, and pacing is everything. The big mistake men make. They get to direct too explicit too soon. And for us, that's an instant turnoff. It's the digital equivalent of sending an unsolicited DPIC. It's jarring, it's awkward, it kills the mood. A real example of how men blow it and how to do it right. Let me paint you a picture. I was dating a very handsome man, tall, confident, well-dressed. All the surface level boxes were checked. We were still in the early stages, that delicious, slightly mysterious getting to know each other phase. And then out of nowhere, He sends me a link to a website selling submissive and dom lingerie. Chokers, chains, leather straps, the whole catalog. He even tells me I've got a shopping cart ready for you. Now, was intrigued by him? Yes. Did this move completely kill the vibe? Also, yes. Here's what was going through my head. Excuse me, sir. Can we maybe have dinner first? Can you start with a, hey, how are you? I was thinking about you before I hit me with the 50 Shades starter pack, because here's the unfiltered Ruth. The message that sends to a woman is, you're just a piece of ass, and I want to do dirty things to you now. If a woman is already in thought head space with you, she might love thought. But most women, they want a little ramp up. They want the tension too. Build. They want the movie to have a plot before the scene gets well heated. The better way. He could have played it now. If he had handled this with pacing and intrigue, I would have been totally into it. He could have started with something like, I was thinking about your favorite color today, and I saw something you might like. Can't wait to show you next time I see you. That's mystery. That's intrigue. And you better believe I would have spent the rest of the day dying to know what it was. Even better, he could have snapped a small, cropped part of the picture. Something that gives a hint but doesn't reveal the whole thing, and texted me. Guess what this is? Now here's where psychology kicks in. When you give her just enough to spark curiosity, her mind will fill in the blanks with her own fantasies. And her fantasies will almost always be better than anything you could have penetrate. Emily Nagoski, a sexual reader, says women need to see a situation as erotic in order to feel erist. For men, it's an instant on-off switch. For us, it's a slow burn buildup. It gets hotter the more our imagination works. Why? High subtlety wins every time. Pacing, mystery, intrigue. Those are the keys that make a woman want to get physical with you. When you want to connect with a woman. On that level, innuendo and suggestion will get you much further than jumping straight into the explicit. If you can hint at something sexual and make her picture it in her mind without spelling it out, you'll hook her attention and her desire. Playful teasing examples you can steal if she compliments you. Maybe your shirt, your cologne, or gives you a flirty side eye. You can turn thought mint into a subtle spark by saying, are you hitting on me right now? Come down. We're in public. Just wait till we get home. I knew you had a naughty side just waiting to come out. Notice samathing? None of those are graphic, but they plant an idea and let Haramination run wild. Questions that he things up without crossing the line, asking slightly risky, but note-over-the-top sexual questions can create a massive attraction. Have you ever been skinny dipping? What do you think about public displays of affection? No one was around. Where's one place you'd actually consider doing it? Here's the key. You're asking in general. Urena saying you and her. And that Curtesifetti. What happens next is almost always the same. If she's interested, she'll start leaning into the conversation. She'll open up. She'll might even escalate for you. How subtle sexuality builds deep emotional attraction. Let's circle back to what I said earlier about emotional connection. Most guys think of it as sharing feelings. Talking about childhood memories or being romantic. That's one form. But harass deeper truth. When you introduce sexuality into the conversation with suitlity, pacing and curiosity, you're actually building a very specific kind of emotional connection, one that's linked directly to sexual tension. It isn't about jumping straight to the bedroom. It's about creating a space where she feels safe enough to express her desires, excited enough to imagine things with you, curious enough to want more. When you get a woman imagining hers in sensual, intimate situations with you without ever saying, let's shave sex, she starts associating thoughts feelings with you naturally, and that association is powerful. Here's Thoskrit most men miss. If she participates in those conversations welly, if she teases back, answers her playful questions, Or starts escalating the topic herself. She's showing you she's already thinking of you in that way. It's not about forcing attraction. It's about revealing it. Why women's romance novels are the ultimate seduction blueprint. If you've never picked up a women's romance novel, do it. Seriously, it'll be the best $5 you ever spend. Why? Because they're all about words and imagination. You'll notice something. The story always starts slow. There's a meeting. There's tension. There's longing glances. Maybe a brush of the hand that lasts a little too long. And the build. The sexual tension gradually increases, but it's soft and implied at first. It's hinted at in subtle ways before it ever becomes explicit. And when it finally does become direct, it's explosive. Now, compare that to most men's idea, off seduction, porn, to strangers. Meet, barely exchange a sentence, and 30 seconds later, they're in bed. That works for you because you have an instant on-off switch for arousal? But for us, that's unrealistic. We need the slow burn, the anticipation, the mental foreplay, how to create the tipping point. When you pace things right, teasing, hinting, and letting her imagination do the heavy lifting, you're at a point where her desire tips of her. At that moment, she's not only willing, she's eager. And here's the best part. If you've built it right, she'll feel like it was her idea. Thatch is the one who crossed the line. That's the magic. You let her want it, your takeaway. Use your words. Use her imagination. Don't rush the moment. Build it. Because when you do, you'll discover that the no one thing that earns on 99% of women isn't looks. Isn't money, isn't some cheesy pickup line. It's your ability to plant the seed off desire in her mind and let it grow until she can't resist acting on it. If this gave you a new perspective on how to pace attraction, hit that like button. Subscribe to Dark Psychology so you never miss the deeper truths of boot relationships, attraction, and human behavior. And in the comments, tell Muhat's one subtle line you vusid bor that got an amazing reaction. I'm Amelia, and I'll see you in the next stone.